Hi there, and thank you for joining me today on Ask Dr. Stacey. We are hosting our latest broadcast today. These are held weekdays at 12:15 Eastern and 9:15 a.m. Pacific, so you can watch us anytime, and I invite you to join us here. So I'm just getting everything organized here. We are coming live from Brantford, Ontario, Canada, and you can visit my website at drstaceycooper.com, where you will find more health and wellness tips on fueling your body better for better body function. So as you join us here on the chat, be sure to enter your name and reaching. We love to see who we're meeting up with. And also, this is a live Q&A, so submit any of your questions, comments, anything that you would like me to address on our episodes. So I appreciate that, and you can always send it there. We have many previous episodes already in the can, as they say, and you can view them on my Facebook page at Lifestyle Balance Solutions. So you can see that there on the screen. So you can just go to Facebook, look up Lifestyle Balance Solutions, and all of our previous episodes where I talk about healthy grains, gluten-free grains, and the benefits of those and how to use them. One of my latest ones was avocados for dessert. They truly are delicious, and you will be amazed at how easy the recipe is, and I demonstrate that right on our Ask Dr. Stacey, so check that out. Also, we talk about nourishing your mind, nourishing your body, stretching versus strengthening, joint mobility. You can look up on my Lifestyle Balance Solutions page on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, not to worry. I have a YouTube channel. Just go to Dr. Stacey Cooper on YouTube and you will see them all there as well. So now, today I have a lot of information I want to share with you about balance and the balance mechanisms in your body. Balance is something that we take for granted, and what I'm talking about is your actual physical balance. So being able to walk a straight line toe to toe. As we age, we do find that our balance gets a little off. When you have a cold and your head is stuffed up, you have sinus congestion, that affects the balance mechanisms. And I'm going to tell you why and how that happens. And then your balance is a little off. So we're going to talk about that today in regards to the vestibular system and proprioceptors in your body. I know these are some things that you may have no idea about. And that's what I'm going to shed light on, as to how your body functions and how you can have it function better and how to strengthen those systems. So I'm going to share that with you right here. So when we talk about coordination in the body, the human balance system involves a complex sense of sensory motor control systems. And these interlacing feedback mechanisms can be disrupted by damage to one or more components, whether it be through injury, disease. Like I said, if you have a head cold, that sort of thing too can affect it, but other viral infections can affect your balance, or the aging process too. Impaired balance can be accompanied by other symptoms such as dizziness, vision problems. Your vision and your sight has a huge component in your balance. I'm going to share that with you. Nausea, fatigue, and concentration difficulties can all be affected. So the complexity of the human balance system creates challenges in diagnosing and treating the underlying cause of imbalance, because there's so many aspects that are involved. So the crucial integration of information, which is obtained through your vestibular mechanism, through your visual system, and the proprioceptive systems, which has to do with your joints and muscles. That means that disorders affecting an individual system can markedly disrupt a person's normal sense of balance. So if any one of these components are affected, then your balance will be affected. So first of all, input from the eyes. But they also determine spatial orientation in space. So if you're a pedestrian walking down a street, you will see that buildings are oriented vertically for you. And as you walk past them, they will pass through and into your peripheral vision and then out of your line of sight. This information plays an important part in your balance in your body. So another aspect is input from your muscles and your joints. Your body needs to know where you are in space and what orientation your body has. So specific mechanisms, the proprioreceptors, they transmit information from your skin, your muscles, and your joints, and send sensory information, which is sensitive to stretch or pressure in the surrounding tissue. If you pitch yourself forward a little bit on your toes, you will feel more pressure on the ball of your feet than you will on the heels of your feet. This is proprioreceptive information that is going to be sent to your brain so that you maintain your balance and you don't go toppling forward right over. So this is very, very important. So with any movement of the legs, arms, and other body parts, sensory receptors respond by sending impulses to the brain. So there's many factors involved here. So along with other information, these stretch and pressure cues help our brain to determine where our body is in space. Therefore, your brain can then send motor information back to those muscles and joints to contract or relax or place tension or relaxation in one area or another to ensure pulses originating in the neck and the ankles are especially important because proprioreceptive cues from the neck indicate the direction in which your head is turned. This plays a vital role in what happens. So when you're in a static position, straight orientation, then balance cues from the vestibular apparatus, which we're going to talk about next, comes in equally from both sides. But if your head is turned to one side, now the information is actually going to change the percentage of where it's going to come from. So if you've turned to the right, you're going to get much more information from the right side and much less input from the left side so that your body knows where you are in space. This is phenomenal. It's an incredible mechanism by which our body works. And so many of us have no idea how this even happens. So cues relative to both the standing surface, the floor or the ground that you're on, and the quality of that surface. For example, if it's hard or soft, slippery or uneven, because all of that plays a role. So when you're standing on a bank where it's an incline, your muscles are going to behave very differently than if you're standing flat on a sidewalk. So this is how the proprioreceptive information comes up to the brain. So the vestibular system, this is another sensory input, and it's about motion, equilibrium, and spatial orientation of your body, and it's provided through the vestibular apparatus. These are called the semicircular canals, and they're located just inside in the inner ear, and this is where it's located. So the semicircular canals are three canals that are in 90-degree orientation to each other. So it dictates 3D orientation about this is like a carpenter's level with the fluid and the bubble in it. And so when you go from horizontal, that bubble moves. Well, it's the same thing in the vestibular apparatus in the semicircular canals. So when you tilt your head in space, the fluid flows within those canals and triggers hair cells, which are then stimulated to send information to your brain about where you are in space so that the muscles on my right side right now are contracting more to hold me up as the muscles on my left side are relaxing and stretching to allow me to come into this position. It's remarkable. So when your head rotates in a particular direction, a particular canal is stimulated. And this exerts pressure against the receptor in the canal and sends the information to your brain. It's incredible. So when balance information is provided by the eyes, the ankles, and the neck, and the joints in those areas, plus the two sides of the vestibular system, this is all sent to the brainstem, where it's sorted out and integrated with learned information contributed by the cerebellum. The cerebellum is the coordination center of the brain, and the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is the thinking and the memory center. So we do a lot of learning through the cerebral cortex where memories are stored, and then that information can be quickly accessed because it's already a pattern that's developed in your memory. So the cerebellum provides information about automatic movements that have been learned through repeated exposure and motion. So think a lot of motion has to happen for all that coordinated function to come together for the ball to end up hitting the racket and over the net. So that's a lot of movement. You can't do that the first time out. It takes a lot of coordination. So practice, practice, practice. And what happens is your body then learns the mechanisms and the routine of what has to happen at 1 millisecond for everything to come together and for that feat to be accomplished to serve the ball over the net. So to optimize balance control during that movement, practice is really important. Also, if you're walking on an icy sidewalk, you're going to change how you walk and your gait pattern in order to accommodate that new situation or scenario that you're in on the icy sidewalk. So all of this information is processed through your nervous system. So when your body becomes trying to process conflicting sensory input. So an example of this is if you've ever been stopped in a car at stoplights or whatever, and you actually feel like your car is moving, but it's not. Your foot's solidly on the brake, or you're a passenger and you know that you're not moving. What happens is the car beside you may have started in motion, and this is conflicting information to your brain because your eyes see a vehicle in motion. Now you think that you're in motion, but your body doesn't feel any acceleration. The muscles aren't triggered or anything like that. And so your body is processing this conflicting sensory information. So when that happens is your body has to sort through the conflicts and decide what is actually happening. So then that's when you take a moment, close your eyes and look to the sidewalk to see other cues. Are you physically moving, or was it the car beside you? And that's how your body then processes and sorts out that conflict, because now you've taken another cue and fed that information into your brain, and now it says, oh, no, it's not us that we're moving. We are stationary. And so it's all coming together. Now, motor output. As sensory integration takes place from all of those places that comes into the brainstem, that control movement of the eyes, the head, the neck, the trunk, and the legs, and it allows a person to both maintain balance and have clear vision while moving. If our eyeballs were completely stationary in our head, then as we walked, the information that came in would be like you watching a video camera on shake mode. And it would be really hard for your brain to process that information. So what happens is that the brain actually tells the muscles around the eyes to maintain a steady position. So motor output to the muscles in the joints. Just think of a baby learning to balance and to learn to walk. This is only achieved through practice and repetition, because a new pathway is being formed. The nervous system is learning how to bring everything together, all of that information and all of those systems to have you function well and be able to walk a straight line. This takes a lot of learning to happen. So what happens is strong evidence exists that's suggesting that such synaptic reorganization occurs throughout a person's lifetime and adjusting to changing motion and environments. So you can learn new motions. When you learn a new skill or a new task, as a teenager, if you took up skating or spinning or dancing, things like that, cartwheels in the park, when you do that, your body then learns to accept that the vision of seeing the park go around and around upside down is actually a normal cue during you doing cartwheels in the park. Whereas if you were just standing still and you saw the park whirling from you, and that something needs to be corrected. but it learns that if you're choosing to do cartwheels in the park, that it's going to be a normal sight of seeing that park whirling in front of your vision. Same with dancers who are doing pirouettes. They know that they need to have that pinpoint focus and minimize the rotation of the head, so it's a quick snap with every pirouette that they do to come back to that focus point so they maintain their balance. Same as figure skaters doing spins on the ice. The examples could go on and on. So the point is that this is a learned mechanism. And so sometimes when we don't use it, we lose it. I was a figure skater in my teen years. And as a lot of you know, I've gone back to synchronized skating with the ladies team in my adult years. Now, your brain says, oh yeah, sure, you can go back and do a 2-footed spin on the ice, no problem. And your body says, you're crazy. It's been a long time since we've done that task. And that is a new thing that your body needs to learn. It needs to relearn the proprioceptors, the proper muscle response to the motion that needs to be relearned. So as we age, our balance can become off due to a number of factors. And if you don't use that pathway, then it becomes like an overgrown path in the field. And it is harder to traverse that path. And when you use that path more often and you go down that road and you wear that trail, then it becomes clear again and it becomes a well-worn path, and then it's much easier to access and to traverse, and your body can manage it much better. The same is true for your balance. So when you start to practice balancing and encouraging greater balance in your body, it will become easier for you to do, and then your balance will become improved. So one last thing I want to share with you before we talk about how to improve your balance is that motor outer system, circular canals that we talked about inside your inner ear. It sends motor control signals via the nervous system to all the muscles of the eyes, and with an automatic function called the vestibulo-ocular reflex. So when the head is not moving, the number of impulses from the vestibular organs on the right side is equal to the number of impulses coming from the left side. And as I mentioned earlier, when the head is turned to the right, the number of impulses from the right ear increases and the number from the left decreases. The difference in impulses sent from each side controls eye movements and stabilizes the gaze during active head movement, like while you're running or watching a hockey game. And passive head movements, like while you're sitting in a car that is accelerating or decelerating. So all of this is incorporated. It's phenomenal what the body can accomplish in such tiny, tiny bits of time to enable us to be in an upright position, focused and functioning without falling over and toppling and hurting ourselves. So we often take for granted these functions of the body, but when we consider the intricacy of the communication that must happen through the nervous system in order for us to be phenomenal what happens on the inside. So now to help strengthen your balance mechanisms, if you're finding issues with your balance, then start off by standing in a room with a chair or something for support. So you're going to want to hold on to a countertop or something that's stable. And your feet are just going to be hip width apart. So just standing comfortably. And I just want you to raise one foot up off the floor. Just 2 or 3 inches off the floor. It doesn't have to be big. And you're just going to hold that. Now, what we want to progress to is being able to raise your foot a little higher and also being able to do that without holding on. Now, we want everybody to be safe and to not endure any injuries during this process. So start where you can start from. If you need to have both hands on the counter and you can only raise your foot up 2 inches off the floor, great. That is where you're starting from. And you're always going to move forward and progress forward. So only work within your comfort level and then expand from there. Now, key, do not just raise the left foot. If your right side is your strong side and you automatically raise your left foot, balance in the body is key. We want to work both sides of the body to the same degree so that you're strengthening all of those pathways equally on both sides of the body. So if you raise your left foot up 3 inches off the floor for 20 seconds or 10 seconds, great. Put that foot back in your contact on the countertop and then do the same thing on the other side. Now, if you're comfortable doing this, then you can step it up. So you may want to take one hand off the countertop and raise 1 foot 5 inches off the floor. And if you want to increase your balance, then you can raise that same hand up into the air. Now you will feel how your body's compensating, how you may be a little unsteady, how you may be joggling back and forth, back and forth. This is your body learning to contract muscles on one side, relax those on the other side just a little bit to maintain that upward posture. As you practice this, that jostling about will become less and you will become more steady and more steady. So there's many poses. Yoga incorporates many things like this into the body that you can utilize to improve your balance. So other places that you can do this throughout the course of your day, while you're washing dishes or working at the counter at the sink. Just lean yourself against the counter if your hands are busy and just raise up 1 foot and practice doing left side, right side. While you're washing the dishes, you can do it then as well. When you're in line, whether it be at the grocery store or the bank, you already know that you shift your weight from one side when you're being impatient and you shift to the other side. Well, now instead of just shifting weight, lift a foot and practice your balance. Nobody will even know that you're doing it, but you will be strengthening your body and having it function better. So that's some of the tips and information that I wanted to share with you today in regards to functioning your body and improving your balance and getting those pathways working better and stronger so that you can then get back to enjoying some of the activities that you may have been putting off because you didn't feel safe or comfortable doing them. So build up your balance, strengthen those pathways that you may not have been using lately, and get your body stronger and balanced and functioning better. And as always, if you have any questions at all, always shoot me an email, send them directly to Dr. Stacey at drstaceycooper.com, and I would love to share more health and wellness information here with you. You can always visit my website, drstaceycooper.com, where you'll find more healthy living tips and my free 2-part video series, Eliminate Your 5 Hidden Energy Drainers. So I look forward to sharing more information with you on our next episode, and I wish you a wonderful day.